Hi everyone, in today's video, I will explain equity investment financing for your business.
Hi, I'm Dafan the ProfessorZ, your real-life homeless to Ivy League professor, attorney, and serial entrepreneur.
When most people start a business, they think of financing as taking out a loan with a bank. That is debt financing. You borrow a certain amount of dollars, and when you make money, you pay it back. Equity financing is different than debt financing. In debt financing, you borrow the money that you must pay back. In equity financing, you receive the money in exchange for some ownership stake in your business, and you have no obligation to pay it back. That's because the person receiving the equity stake become part owner of the business. In essence, they become a partner with you in this business, and their return is based on the future profit derived by your business. Or I should say, in their business co-owned with you. So the first concept is selling equity for cash. Instead of borrowing the money, the business owners sell off a piece of the business in exchange for the money they need. In other words, partnering up. The most common arrangement involves two persons. One person operates the business, the other person provides the money. The money partner can also be referred to as a silent partner. In other arrangements, multiple partners come together and jointly operate the business. But in the equity investment scenario, most business owners are simply willing to sell off parts of the company and still maintain control of the business. So in essence, every investment partner should act as a silent partner. They provide the money, they reap the benefit when the business makes profit, but they don't participate in the operation of the business. This, in my view, is the best arrangement. Partners can provide valuable mentorship and advice, but the operational structure for a new business should stay simple. You, as the originator of the business idea, as the first person getting the business started, should retain control of the company with the help of your partners. With that in mind, the more percentage of the business, the bigger piece of the business you sell off to an investor, the less control you have, because they are now a bigger partner in your business. So in general, the first money partner you bring on should be limited to less than 20%. Now, the most common scenario in small businesses is to go half and half, 50-50. That is absolutely not the best way to go about doing things, especially between a business operator and an investor. Not only does the 50% business partner has equal say, there's also another important consideration which I'll mention next: dilution. Many successful businesses go through several rounds of financing, either debt or equity. When more than one round of equity financing occurs, dilution happens. The best way to understand that is this. When you take on your first equity investor, you gave away an X amount percentage of your ownership to that first investor. When a second investor comes along, they too will require a percentage of ownership. But because at that time you and the first investor are co-owners in the company, you both then give up a percentage of what you currently own to the second investor. This is the process of dilution. If you start off with 100% and you give away 20% in the first round of financing, you now own 80%. If the next round you give up another 20%, now you will give away 20% of your 80%, 16% in this case, and you will only end up with 64% once the dilution happens. As each equity financing round, your ownership gets smaller and smaller in the overall picture of the company. So if you start off with a very low number, like 50 or 60%, one additional round of financing will make you into a minority owner of your own business. That's why I advocate start off with a higher number, such as 80%. So you can go through an additional 2 or 3 rounds of equity financing and still end up holding 51% of the company. That allows you to retain control over multiple rounds of equity financing. The third important thing to understand when it comes to equity financing is valuation. Valuation is what it sounds like: putting a value on the company. When you first start a business, it's very difficult to value a company. I can tell you, I have $1 million idea, or I have $1 billion idea. That doesn't mean the business is worth $1 million or $1 billion. The business might very well be worth as much as you say 6 months, a year, or 2 years down the road. But before then, before you started your business, How much is the idea worth? That is open to interpretation. An operating business is usually evaluated by a multiple of its revenue. For example, we might say a company is worth 10 times the quarterly revenue, or 15 times, or 5 times, depends on what kind of business it is. But before you start a business, you have no revenue. All you have are potentials. And these potentials must be discounted because there is a risk that the potential will never come to be. So both as an entrepreneur looking for financing and an investor, there's a lot of wiggle room in how to value a company. And a small change in early valuation means a huge change later on. If I'm an investor and I agree that your idea is worth $1 million, I will have to invest $100,000, 10% of the valuation, to get 10% of the company. But if we agree that your idea is only worth $400,000, I can then invest the same $100,000 and get 25% of the company because the valuation is lower. So you see, it's really important as the entrepreneur to get as high as a valuation as you can, and it's very important for an investor to get as low of a valuation as they can. You must meet somewhere in the middle. And without revenue, it's a guessing game. So what tip do I have for you, the entrepreneur? Before you go meet an investor, understand that valuation is going to be based on what you can project. So prepare yourself and make the best presentation possible to get as high of a valuation as you can. And since you have no actual revenue, try to reasonably project a high revenue, because a high revenue will allow you to arrive at a high valuation. And without actual operating data, it's difficult to rebut a good and reasonable projection. Don't sell yourself short before you start. So there you go. That's a snapshot of equity investment. If you have any questions regarding this topic, please leave it in the comments and I will make sure to answer them. And if you like these short and simple videos on entrepreneurship topics, please like and subscribe to my channel for updated weekly content. Additionally, I'm starting a weekly live show called Entrepreneurship Talk Live. Please join me for Q&As, story times, and updates. Now we'll be happy to answer any question you might have about anything related to entrepreneurship. So look out for the live show on Tuesday evenings. So again, this is Dafan the ProfessorZ, guiding you on your journey to success, freedom, and satisfaction. Remember, if you like these simple and quick videos on entrepreneurship topics, please subscribe to my channel for updated weekly content. Until next time, be successful.